Today we're going to discuss with Karen, our Director of Education, about what can we do. Like, we get a lot, I did personally, got a lot of clients that would get in my chair and they're like, I don't want a literal Halloween set. I want something inspired, but I want something I can wear before, I can wear after, that might flow into Thanksgiving. Like, is there something we can do here?
Yes, there's always something you can do. I'm not a literal person. I can't even say literal.
So she definitely isn't.
I'm definitely not. But I don't like those specific, pumpkins or bats. That's
Right.
not my style. I'm happy to, do a stamp or something for that.
Yeah.
But I like more of the abstract kind of things. And today's design is going to be more of that abstract.
So kind of the colors,
Yeah.
the feeling of it, but yet can go with anything. I think this is a really important one, guys. For me personally, I cannot draw to save my life, so I lived off these type of designs, so I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I hope you guys are too.
Okay, so today we're starting to get into that Halloween spirit, and we're gonna do some really fun Halloween designs, but not too Halloween. We're not doing pumpkins, not that that's not a good thing, but we're gonna do just kind of a Halloween vibe today. I'm gonna start with our prep, just like we always do. I'm gonna push back my cuticles using our magic wand. All right, I'm gonna come in with my electric file. I'm using a medium grit arbor band. I'm gonna just work right up around that cuticle, those little tiny circles around the cuticle, and then follow through the whole rest of the body of the nail. I'm gonna go ahead and prep 2 nails for you today. Same thing, right around the cuticle, and then just back and forth across the body of the nail. We're going to dust off our nail, get all of that dust off of there, get it nice and clean. And then we're going to come in with our swipe. One quick easy pump of that. Clean off the nail, clean off all of the dust, all the dirt, all the contaminants and the oils on the nail. Give you a clean, dry surface to work on. And we'll take our forms, take out that little center tab, put that right on the back. That's going to give you a little bit more durability when you're shaping your form. Pinch your 2 silver tabs together as evenly as you can. And then we're going to slide that right up under the nail. Kind of come in a little bit at an angle, and then you can rock it back down, secure down on the sides. I'm going to put on 2 of our forms here. We've got 2 nails to do. Same thing, pinch your tabs together nice and even. Slide up under the nail and then rock it down. And secure on your sides. Just going to kind of pinch that together a little bit more underneath so that they don't fall off like this one just did. And we're good to go. 2 coats of our protein bond. Keep our product anchored onto the nail really well. Protein bond works kind of like a double-sided tape, so it's going to stick down to that natural nail, but then it's going to leave that tacky surface for your acrylic to grab onto. 1 coat all the way through all 10 nails, and then you're going to come back and do a 2nd coat, just to make sure for that added insurance that nothing is going to lift. I'm just brushing a little bit at a time, back up to the cuticle area and through the whole body of the nail. All right, I'm going to set my hand aside. We're going to mix a really fun color today. We're going to work with some oranges and some sparklies and some little bit darker colors too. So what I'm going to start with is just an empty mixing jar. So we're going to mix a whole container of this, and we're going to fill right up to the bottom line with our speed clear. You can use whichever clear you like to. If you want to add a different color to it, you're welcome to do that. I like to use speed clear when I'm mixing most of my glitters. Okay. So I'm gonna just come in here and I'm gonna hold my jar and I'm gonna pour right straight down in there until it fills just up to that bottom line. Now I'm going to go in with the rest of my glitters. I like to start with my darker colors or my denser colors. So the 2 that I'm starting with is golden orange and bronze. So these 2 are from our Illume collection. So what the Illume collections are is it's basically a silver glitter with a colored coating. So these are going to give you a really dense coverage. So this is going to be a good start and a good base to our color. So we're going to fill up with some of our bronze, some of our golden orange. And then I'm going to come into some lighter colors. A lighter color is going to give you a little bit more dimension. It's going to give you a little bit more light reflection. So I'm going to start with my lava. And I like the shimmer of this one. Just adds a really nice pop to our nail. And then we're going to use Crush. And Crush is a little bit lighter and just a little bit sparklier. We'll add that in. Then I'm going to go to my more dimensional. Most of these glitters are about the same size, the same cut. The next two I'm going to use is, this one is a Rock Star and this one is Crushed Pearl. So Crushed Pearl, I'm going to start with that, is a little bit larger than what the rest of the glitters are. It's just an iridescent glitter. So that's going to add a lot of sparkle, a lot of shine to our nail, and then just a little bit of a different texture. The Rock Star, that's going to be a larger glitter, and that's going to add even more texture. Okay, so we're going to start with those colors. And you can see I've now filled this almost all the way to the top. There's just a little bit of space in the top, and that's going to give me enough space to where I can shake the product, and it's going to get everything mixed up really, really well. So you can shake it. If you like to stir it, you can stir it, but I find that it's easier to shake it and kind of roll it between my hands. That way I get a really good mixture, and I don't have separation of the glitters or the powder. All right, so I've got my glitter mix, I've got my liquid, and I'm going to come also in with my Speed Clear. So when you're doing a full coverage glitter, you always want to make sure that you're putting a little bit of a layer of clear down first, so that when you go to change out your design, you can file off the glitter, but then you don't have to file all the way down to that natural nail. So I'm just going to pick up just a small pearl, drop that down at my cuticle, and then blend that. That actually may have been even just a little too much. I don't want this too thick, just enough to be a thin layer as a barrier. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on my second nail. Again, just a small pearl right at our cuticle, and then we're going to blend that forward. If you put on too much clear at this point, your nail's going to tend to get bulky. We don't want a nail bulky. We want to build our glitter layer, and then we want to be able to have a little bit more space to put a clear over the top to seal in our glitter. And if we start too much clear at the bottom, it's going to get too thick layer upon layer. Okay. All right, so let's come back to our first nail. I'm going to come in with my glitter, and I'm going to sculpt the whole thing out of the glitter, but I'm going to start just at my free edge. Okay, I'm going to pick up a pearl, drain out a little bit of that extra liquid, and I'm going to drop that right down onto my form. I'm going to wipe out that little bit of extra glitter residue, and then I'm going to come in with the belly of my brush and press that product out from side to side. Okay, I'm going to use the edge of my brush now to tuck up into my sides and up into that corner of the nail. Okay, tuck in on the sides, and then I'm going to work all the way back across and do the same thing. Work on one side of your nail first. That way you kind of perfect one side, and then you can work on the other side. Rather than trying to stress and work on both sides all at once, it's too much to work on. So one side at a time, and then the other, and then if you need to come back and taper in a little bit or clean anything up, you can do that. Now I'm going to do a little bit more of an oval shaped nail today. So I'm tucking in my sides, and I'm kind of bringing it in at an angle, and then I'm going to round out my free edge just a little bit. So I'm going to tuck in the corners of that nail so it goes more oval rather than square. Okay, so we've got our basic shape. Then again, I'm going to pick up a second pearl. Again, not too thick. We're going to drop that right down at the cuticle. Press that out into the cuticle area. Angle that finger downward, and you can see how that product is already starting to move down the length of my nail. I'm just going to tuck in my cuticle area and then lightly blend out that edge. Okay, and again, if you feel like you have too much product on, go ahead and wipe some off. So again, you can see from the side, we still have just a very thin layer. We're gonna build up over the top using our clear. Looks like my form came off of my other nail. We'll put that back on in a second. Okay. All right, just gonna make sure my shaping is about where I want it here for my oval. And then I'll come back in with my clear. So now I'm just gonna overlay the whole nail, again, starting at my cuticle area. Press out my cuticle, cap that whole edge of your glitter. Tap all the way around, and again, let it run down the length of the nail. When the thickness is where you want it, lift back up, and then I'm just gonna feather out the edge of that clear. Okay, so now we've got a nice thin cuticle area, a nice thin free edge, and a little bit higher up into that arch of our nail. Okay. All right. I'm going to pop my form back onto this one, and we're going to do that same exact process on this one. So again, come back in, pick up our glitter, drain out that extra liquid so that it doesn't run all over the form. Press down, wipe out your brush. Use the belly of the brush to press out in the center and work to one side. Press in on your edges. Use the edge of your brush, not the fat part, the belly of the brush. Use the edge. Tuck up into that corner and then press all the way back across. Tuck up into the edge, press up into that corner, and tuck right up in there. If it ever feels like your brush is sticking to your acrylic, go ahead and wipe out your brush. That usually means that there's a little too much liquid that you're trying to work with. Just go ahead and brush that out and then come back in. Okay. So again, we're going to bring this out to an oval shape. So I'm going to extend that out a little bit more. A little more pressure on the end there to make that a little bit longer, and then I'm going to tuck in my corners. Okay, make a little more rounded, a little more oval shape. Okay. Come back in with one more pearl. This one we're not going to drain because we want that liquid in our pearl so that it's going to flow and run down the length of the nail. Press out around your cuticle area and let it run. If you need to help it a little bit, just feather that product out. I'm going to do a little bit of a press right in the center there, get it to smooth out a little bit better, and then just blend through. Okay, same thing, we're going to cap the nail in clear. Now I get a lot of questions as to what glitters do I cap, what do I not cap. I always say a good rule of thumb is if you're going to file over it, cap it in clear, because that way you're not going to ruin your design. It's not going to file your design out. And especially remember how I was saying that the Illume glitters are a silver glitter. If you were to file over any of the Illume glitters, you're going to file that colored coating off, and then you would end up with just that silver glitter. So if you're going to file, cap it in clear. All right, I've got a little area that I need just a hair more acrylic. I'm going to pick up a little bit of a drier pearl. I'm going to drop that right down and blend it up into my arch. Just going to press my brush over the top. All right, and just lightly blend that out. So I think we've got our acrylic where we want it. I'm going to let these set up, I'll file them out, and then I'll show you the design. Okay, so we've got our nails all filed out. I'm going to go ahead and get into our spooky design. So I'm going to use our Overdrive from the Mission Control paints. And I'm going to use our striper brush. If you choose to use the micro detailer, you're welcome to do that. It probably would work a little bit better if you're working on a smaller nail, but I'm going to go with our striper today. So I've cleaned off the nail, I've dusted it all off. I'm going to use just a little bit of swipe Make sure all of that dust is off of there. And again, I'm going to come back in with one more coat of my protein bond just to make sure that everything adheres really well on top of the nail. And this is kind of a cheater way also to see what your glitter is really going to start to look like. Gives you a little bit of shine. Okay, so I'm going to do the same or a similar kind of a design on both nails, but on the first nail, I'm just going to do kind of a half design. So I'm going to work with my black right up around the cuticle area. And I'm just going to do just kind of a thin line covering all of that glitter back at the cuticle. And if you didn't get your acrylic all the way up to the cuticle, you can work a little farther back with your gel paints and kind of seal that edge a little bit. Again, I'm just going to work a little bit more along the sides. And maybe I'm going to thicken that up just a little bit more up top here. And don't worry if that line isn't perfect underneath here, because we're going to do a little bit more detailing in there. I'm going to bring that down just a little bit on the edges. It's almost like you're doing a smile line in reverse. Not reverse application. Okay, so I'm going to bring that down the side a little bit. And then I'm just going to take just a little bit more of my black, and I'm just going to start to kind of pull through and just do some kind of wavy lines. Just pull through, maybe just a little bit more on my brush. You want to be careful that you're not putting too much paint on your brush, because you want to make sure that this is going to cure all the way through. So if you make it too thick, then it's not going to cure. So all the way through. If you want to add kind of an extra line, make it look a little bit more like a flame, you can do that. Let's come all the way down. This is just going to kind of frame the nail a little bit. All right, so we've got our first nail done. I'm going to put that into the light just for a quick 10-second freeze, and then I'm going to work on my next hand, or my next nail. So on this one, I just did the top half. On the second one, we're going to do all the way around the nail. It's going to be kind of like a picture-in-a-picture frame kind of a look. So same thing, we're going to start out all the way around the top. Again, making sure to get nice and close up to that cuticle without touching. If you do get any of the color on the skin, just make sure to clean that off before you cure. And bring it down the sides. And this one, I'm actually going to make my sides a little bit thicker, so again, it's a little bit more of that picture-in-a-picture frame, rather than just a kind of a fade out. So all the way down the side. When I'm making longer strokes, I'm actually using a little bit more of the brush. If I'm doing a little bit more detail, I use just the point of the brush. Okay, so now, make sure I get all the way to that edge. Now I'm going to come all the way down and around the free edge. Capping right around that free edge and then back up around. Okay, so if you need to touch anything up, go ahead and touch up, but again, don't be too overly cautious if it's not 100% perfect, because when we pull our lines through, it's actually going to look better if it isn't quite so perfect. So again, just like on the last one, just start to pull your lines into the center wherever you want them. If you want it all the way around, go ahead and do all the way around. If you just want from the top and the bottom, go ahead and do that. And I kind of work back and forth. I don't tend to go all the way around in a circle. I feel like I get better placement this way. Again, personal preference. If you want to work in a circle, that's up to you. And we're going to finish right down at the end there. And maybe we'll add just a couple of little extras in a few spots here. All right, I think we're good with that. So again, I'm going to pop that back into the light. For the quick 10-second freeze, I'm going to come in with my ManiQ Top Coat, or whichever top coat you prefer. And we're going to do one coat of that. We'll pop it back into the light and cure it all the way through. Okay, so again, the ManiQ Top Coat is going to go in for a full 1-minute cure. And because we used our ManiQ Top Coat, we need to use our ManiQ Cleanse to remove that tacky surface. Give it a quick wipe. All right, so that's our design. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest of the nails, and I'll show you the spooky results.
Thank you so much for watching our nail videos. To check out more, head right over here, and to subscribe to our channel, click right over here.